Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. Today we will have a demonstration of the power of the spoken word. Two speeches, one delivered by Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, to a joint session of Congress. The other from the President of the United States, Joe Biden, from the Oval Office. These two leaders are going to try to explain precisely what their positions are in the days ahead. So let's talk first about Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel. They are in a very tough position because Hamas continues to hold hostages, because Hamas continues to say that Israel has no right to exist. Some blame Prime Minister Netanyahu for his approach to the problem. I think if Prime Minister Netanyahu could wave a magic wand, we would see the hostages released. But it's not within his power. It is in the power of Hamas. And so we will listen today to the Prime Minister of Israel explain his position. Let me point out that about 100 Democrats are going to boycott the speech. I don't think that's a good thing at all, because it is important to listen to what they have to say. This is, to me, a critical moment in the context of Middle East politics. But one thing is certain: bipartisan support for Israel in the United States, Democrats and Republicans, whether you look at Harris or Trump, remains firm. The problems of the Middle East are somewhat intractable. As long as Hamas declares it is only for a one-state solution, that is, the elimination of Israel, it is hard for any progress to be made. And tonight, the President of the United States will speak from the Oval Office, and he will explain his decision to withdraw as a candidate for president this year. On top of that, he will certainly affirm his strong support for Kamala Harris, his vice president, and clearly the one who will be nominated by the Democratic Party at their convention in August in Chicago. What does this really mean? It is a chance for Joe Biden to speak to the American people with authority, explaining why he has made the decisions that he has made. Will it help the campaign of Kamala Harris? That's their hope. And if you're following the money trail, you know that the outpouring of support financially for Kamala Harris from the grassroots is unbelievable, unprecedented. And if you listen carefully to the Republicans, they are very nervous. They are nervous because they understand that a formidable Kamala Harris is going to face Donald Trump. A prosecutor is going to face someone who is a convicted felon. It's going to be a powerful moment. The Republican response is based, really, at this moment, on an attack on DEI. I've had a number of you ask me, what is DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is a term being used pejoratively, saying essentially Kamala Harris has no qualification to be president of the United States other than her race or her ethnic origin and the fact that she is a woman. I think this is an absurd argument, and already you can hear some division. The Speaker, Johnson, has said, let's not use that, but the Republicans are determined to go ahead with this particular argument. I don't think it's going to work. I think the American people understand that Kamala Harris is fully capable as vice president for the last 3.5 years, as a United States Senator, as Attorney General of California, and as District Attorney of San Francisco. She has a proven record in the American political arena. She's not a lightweight. She's a heavyweight. And, of course, the Democratic Party has now united behind her, and she will be the Democratic nominee for president. I think you will hear the Democrats making a bigger issue of Project 2025, which is essentially the Heritage Foundation platform for what a Republican administration led by Donald Trump should do. It is, without a question, an extreme platform. And that's why Donald Trump is sort of running away from it. He says, I don't know the 2025 project. I don't know the people involved. And of course, that's patently untrue. He knows exactly who they are. He knows exactly who and what Project 2025 wants to accomplish. And the Republicans now have a problem. There's another issue which needs to be raised, and that is Senator Vance, the Republican nominee for vice president, who is pursuing an attack role. Now, it's traditional for a running mate to do the heavy lifting of dirty politics. And that's what you're seeing Senator Vance do. It is not good for him. It is not good for the Republican Party. And it's certainly not good for the nation. A positive campaign by the Republicans would make a lot more sense. So we are listening. We are listening to what candidates say. We are listening to what the president will say tonight. We are listening to what Prime Minister Netanyahu will say in his address to a joint session of Congress. We are listening because the way we learn, the way we respond, is by what people actually say. So whether you are pro-Harris or pro-Trump, whether you are pro-Israel or whether you have criticisms of Prime Minister Netanyahu, the important thing today will be to listen, to understand the positions, and to make sure that as we proceed in this campaign, we are in listening mode. When Republicans speak of diversity, equity, and inclusion, if that's going to be their campaign theme, we have to be aware of what it is. If the Republicans are going to say, oh, we like Project 2025, but it's not part of our campaign, we better understand what that means. In short, what people say matters. Remember the old expression. My old professor, Harry Nairhood, said it very clearly. He said, if you want to pass this class, remember this quote. It's not what is that really counts. It's what man thinks is. And in this campaign, what we think is may be the most important element of the process of choosing a new president. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. And of course, you can interact with me on LinkedIn or on Facebook. And my deep appreciation to the wonderful producer of this podcast, Gogo Zoger. She makes it happen. I am John Rothman, and you are listening to Around the Political World with John Rothman. See you tomorrow.